Now before we drill, we need to choose some screws. Now the old pickups had gold pull pieces, and they used these gold Phillips head screws. I'm not going to reuse those since the new pull pieces are silver and the frets are silver. I know there's gold hardware, but I think it would make better sense to use silver screws here. And I'm going to use slotted head instead of Phillips head because I think that'll look better with the pull pieces, which are all slotted head. So I'm going to use these number 4 wood screws, which look like this. These are 3/4 of an inch long, which is about the same as the old screws. And like I said, they're silver slotted head. So for number 4, that's about 1/8 of an inch, a little under. So I'm going to use a drill bit that's about 3/32. Now you can use a drill bit like this. It's just a standard titanium 3/32 inch drill bit. But what I want to point out is that these new holes tend to overlap with the old holes. Now I filled them, but even so, your drill bit is going to have a tendency to shift and find its way into the old hole. So there's a pretty cool tool here. It's called a self-centering bit. I've got a few of them here, and this is the 3/32 inch one. And what it's got is a spring-loaded sheath around the drill bit. So if I put it in the hole and push down, it's going to keep the drill bit centered over the hole, right where I want it, no matter what. If you don't have that and you're going to try to use one of these normal drill bits, you probably want to take a drill punch like this and center it in there and give it a good whack with a hammer. Not too hard, you don't want to crack the finish, but or you can use an awl like this with a sharp tip and just sort of press down in the center, and that'll hopefully keep the drill bit centered. Before I do any drilling, let's just do a quick sanity check here. The spacer's still in there, and this is positioned right up against it. Nothing has shifted. Let's go ahead and drop this in. Everything looks good. And now we positioned the pull pieces relative to the string. The string acted as a straight edge, but we might as well use a real straight edge here and just see if the edges of the pickups look like they're in a straight line, and they do. And the last thing to do is just sort of stand up back at a distance and eyeball it, and get this out of there. Make sure it looks okay. And I think it does, so I'm ready to go ahead and drill. This is the nerve-wracking part, but what you want to do, these centering bits are really helpful to take some of the stress out of it. So you know it's going to go right where you want it as long as you have the pickup positioned properly. So I'm going to go ahead, holding this in place with some downward pressure so it doesn't shift. There you go. Dead center. Go ahead and repeat that on all 5 other holes. Okay, let's take the tape off. Now if the tape is leaving any residue, you can just use the tape itself to pull the residue off. We'll come back with a polished cloth, of course, later. So you might want to get underneath there and get rid of any of the dust that was left behind. Alright, it's time to screw these pickups in. So let's get the cloths down so in case we drop the screws or the screwdriver, we won't scratch the finish. It's important when screwing these in not to go too tight. You don't want to crack or warp the top of the dog ear, and you don't want to, once it gets down all the way to the bottom, you don't want to just keep on going because it'll strip out the hole that we've drilled, and then it won't hold tightly, and you'll need to go and refill it and start over. All right, with the pickups placed, it's time to think about wiring these guys up. We'll cover that in a future video. Thanks for watching.